my god, is that mutilated tree flesh?
You see, what Curtis does is he peels off the outer layer of the wood to get to the tender stuff inside. Then he dips the whole thing in an acid bath before he begins the deep carving. Oh, sorry, did that upset you?
You monster!
In March 2012, Kickstarter history was made when Tim Schafer's studio Double Fine finished a campaign in an effort to make a brand new point-and-click adventure game where they raised over $3 million. This was insane considering the studio was only looking to raise $400,000, and since we had yet to see this much money raised using the crowdfunding service. The money could not have gone to a more deserving studio. Double Fine has made some of the most exciting original titles, from Psychonauts to the more recent game The Cave. The studio has always been known for its unique games, and because of thousands of fans, the way was paved for them to create their dream game. This would be the first game since Costume Quest Tim Schafer would get to write, and having worked on legendary adventure games like Day of the Tentacle and Grim Fandango, he had a pretty big promise to fill. After almost 2 years and a lot of drama, we finally get to see the release of the first half of the game. To explain, even with the larger than expected budget, the team working on the game still had some trouble getting the game out on time. With full voice acting, hand-painted graphics, and an engine designed specifically for the game, the team had bitten off a bit more than they could chew. They decided to split the game into 2 acts so they could get something out for the backers and general public to play. So this is my review of the first act, and the second act review will come out once the game is released later this year. Broken Age takes 2 very interesting settings and characters in its narrative. On one side you have Shay, a young space adventurer who is floating through space with only his fake robot parents to keep him company. The entire point of the ship is to keep him as safe as possible after their home planet is destroyed. The mission he goes on throughout his day seem more kindred to a 4-year-old rather than the 14-year-old he is at this time, and his life really is just a continuous routine of pointless mediocrity. Voiced by the excellent Elijah Wood, whom most of you should know as Frodo from Lord of the Rings or as Ryan from the show Wilfred, his character is very well developed, and while some parts of his script are the cliched, "I'm too old for this stuff," his situational responses can be very funny and very heartfelt. In this section of the game, you continue to go on fake rescue missions, like saving a bunch of knitted guys from an ice cream avalanche, or checking out a foreign body on the ship just to discover a present from the computer. In one mission, if you deliberately screw up, you will come across a strange person in a wolf suit. Although he seems creepy, he plans to give you a taste of true freedom and adventure, what you've been looking for this whole time. At any time while playing as Shay, you have an option to switch to the other half of the story, Vela's side. Obviously, you can start as her in the beginning or at any time. This ability to switch between characters during the story is simple, but it allows the player to keep things fresh. If you are getting bored with one person's story, a quick switch may be just the thing you need, especially if a particular puzzle is getting you down. Vela is a young girl who has come of age to be able to attend the Maiden's Feast, but we are surprised to learn that she is in fact the feast. Every year, the monstrous creature called Mog Chothra comes by to eat the most beautiful of women towns around the world have to offer. This has become a tradition and is considered a high honor, but as you may have expected, Vela is not cool with being eaten, and is able to escape. Already I must say that Vela's opening is much stronger than Shay's, in character and action. Vela's family members are all very interesting, especially her grandfather, who speaks about their town once being filled with great warriors, but now that they are just a town of bakers. The other maidens at the feast also supply funny moments with their ridiculous dresses and personalities. Upon escaping, Vela ends up in a cloud world where everybody is following a cultist who preaches of being light as a feather. One way this is done is by removing a letter in your name. His name is Harmony, like harmony, without the O, and is voiced by Jack Black, who does a fantastic job in his delivery. If you didn't know it was Jack Black, you may not even notice. He really does do a great job just creating this natural character that you really do not see for that long. Your goal is to find a way to the forest below and to figure out a way to kill Mog Chothra once and for all. I don't wish to give much more of the actual story away since, as a point-and-click adventure game, the story is mostly everything. Broken Age is a hilariously written and well-acted piece. It allows you to be involved enough without making you feel like you are just a part of an interactive movie, and there are plenty of things you could miss without exploring the possibilities in the world. The art and score done in the game are honestly incredible. Double Fine has always managed to create interesting and exciting worlds, but in Broken Age they really nailed it. The hand-painted style makes every frame feel like it was done with so much care. All of the creatures and characters were designed from the ground up. The music never feels too intrusive and supplies a theme appropriate for all areas in the game. As stated earlier, the voice acting is fantastic. An all-star cast of previous Double Fine games voices, including Tom Kenny, who is well known for the Ice King of Adventure Time and SpongeBob from SpongeBob SquarePants, and Raz from Psychonauts. I was mostly impressed, however, by the voice of Vela, who did an incredible job giving life to an interesting character. All of this paired with Tim Schafer's brilliant and funny writing creates a game that will make us all laugh and feel for these characters and their plight. Video games rarely make us laugh anymore, as it can be difficult to make an experience many will find funny. I found myself cracking up at a lot of the situations I found myself in. The first act was around 4 hours long, and that was with me exploring as much as I possibly could have. The puzzles themselves were never too difficult, and always demanded the player to use common sense. I never felt like I was being stopped by some padded out difficult puzzle where I would have to use peanut butter to kill a werewolf or something. It was almost always something practical. Use an axe on a talking tree that didn't have a mouth to let it talk. Use a whipped cream gun to propel yourself through space, etc. Sure, the game isn't for everybody, but anyone who was a fan of point-and-click adventure games will find solace and familiarity with Broken Age. And anyone looking for new desktop wallpapers should be sure to take lots of screenshots. This game is beautiful.